we're back. We're back with the next episode of Let Me Be Frank. Sorry about that. Sorry to scare you if you were sleeping there, but I got a row. Frank gave me a row for not being excitable enough at the beginning of every episode. So we're back with another episode of Let Me Be Frank podcast with myself, Simon Houston, the unspeakably brilliant legend that's Frank McAvennie.
Thank you.
And today's guest, you're in for a big, big treat. It is the one and only podcaster, YouTuber, internet sensation, JaackMate.
Hi, Jack.
Wow, thrilled to have you on, Jack. How you doing?
Oh, thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me on, boys. Yeah.
No, pleasure.
Oh, listen,
we're a couple of beginners here, but just
looking for some advice.
Looking for some advice.
I was just thinking that.
Be nice.
Because we are probably, I hate to use the term dinosaurs, but we're a couple of dinosaurs, and we'll be looking for some advice off one of the best in the business about podcasting and so on. So we'll start off with an easy one. The internet, what's that all about? How does that work?
How do you switch it on?
I bet you're still on dial-up, ain't you?
Yeah, I'm good. I just phone the missus. How did I do this?
Well, the thing is, see, try to get Jack on was interesting as well, because we were sort of emailing, and I was actually going to write you a letter and send it in the post, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, send it by pigeon.
I hope this correspondence finds you well.
Yeah, I phoned Danny Francis down to West Ham. I says, I need his number. He's like, okay. So you know Danny, he's a good boy.
Yeah, so listen, before we get right into it, obviously you're a West Ham super fan, and you do quite a bit of work with them as well. Tricky old start to the season, Jack. Has this come as a surprise to you guys?
Yeah, I think so. I think we all sort of got caught up in the bright lights of all the new signings and whatnot. And let's get it right, like they are great signings, aren't they? I think they will come good. But we have played some of the big boys, haven't we? We have played. So we lost to Villa on the opening day. We've lost to City, lost to Chelsea. I think the Chelsea one was probably the hardest one to take, because probably the one where we showed the least fight. But I mean, the fixtures haven't been kind to us. So I think if we were doing this pod another 5-6 fixtures down the road, it'd probably be easier to sort of predict.
Yeah. So
my biggest problem watching the game at the weekend was it's so easy to open up the defence, and that's never been, it's never been, even when we've not had the best defenders, they still were there as a unit and they worked together, but it was just so easy.
Yeah,
for them. The Jackson's 2 goals was my God, just so easy.
I know. I don't think Areola had the best game either, and he's I think he's incredible. No. I think he's one of the best keepers we've ever had.
Yes.
I think he had an off day. So yeah, it's a bit too early in the season to say really, but I'm just going to predict one of your future questions. I'm going to go ahead and answer it now. I was Moyes in. I was Moyes in right to the end. I was. Yeah. So it's a bit hard. It's a bit hard for me to see someone new there not hit the ground running. We thought we would, but yeah, tough one.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of David and Paul's him as well, but I just thought David's right. He wins games.
Yeah.
But it wasn't nice to watch sometimes.
Right, yeah.
And that's that was my only complaint, because as a manager he was second to none over there. And he should, if he'd have walked away after the cup final. Conference League Cup final, he would have got a statue, and everything would have been rosy, and it just wasn't.
As a bit of an outsider looking in with the whole West Ham thing, what would you say was the split among the West Ham fans towards the end of David Moyes? Do you think it was as simple as 50-50, or do you think the majority wanted them away?
It's hard, because sometimes the minority are the loudest online, so you can't really. I'm sort of gauging it on sort of Twitter and stuff like that, where it can be a little bit of a cesspit. Like, don't get me wrong, right? I completely, and this isn't just me sitting on the fence. I'd give you my honest opinion, but I get the fans that wanted him out. Like, I completely, like last season we conceded. I think we conceded more goals than we've ever conceded in the Premier League. So I do get it. I think I'm quite an emotional person, and that night that we had in Prague, when me and my dad were crying, holding each other. Like, we never had that kind of relationship either. He's like an East End hard boy. I've never seen it. I've only ever seen him cry once before, and that was when his dad passed away. And then the second time was when Declan's lifting that trophy in Prague. Football's a crazy thing, and for me that brought that bought Moyes a bit more time. But I was the same when Ranieri got the sack a season or two after winning the league for Leicester. I was like, give him 3 years, give him 4 years. But I'd say, to answer your question, the split, I think the scales have probably tipped more towards Moyes out.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the fans, judging when I was coming down, used to come down a lot, but I was coming down. Fans liked David. It was just they wanted him to open up. It was just that he was so negative. I think if he'd opened up, the fans would have loved him to stay. It was just getting a better style of football rather than, run defence and hitting a counter. I don't think, especially when you've got players like Kudos and, Paqueta, they can hold the ball and Bowen. I mean, you don't have to be a counter-attacking team when you've got their players.
Exactly.
They can hold the ball up and bring people in. Unfortunately, we've seen what happens at the weekend. Yeah. People run beyond it, and they get caught out at the back. So
but then again, is Lopetegui that different? Like, I don't know.
No, I don't think. Well, we're talking about goals. You're talking about goals. I think in the last many goals have been lost in the first 4 games. We've lost a lot of goals. So this could be a record-breaking season if it keeps going like that.
Oh, don't say that, Frank.
No, I know.
But look,
we'll be all right.
We've got, and before I go any further, welcome to all the new viewers. We have noticed the numbers going up, the subscription numbers, some of the TikTok views and so on. Absolutely brilliant.
Go through the roof now.
So you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, do all the nuts and bolts that you got to do. And nuts and bolts, that's an internet.
Is that an internet term? Is that all right? Thank you.
But I was also going to say, Jack, obviously you, what are you, early 30s? Young guy, relatively, compared to us?
31.
So your knowledge of West Ham back when Frank played would, I'd imagine, be fairly limited. I think your dad would have kind of filled in a wee bit about that. But do you have much of a kind of, many stories told to you about the great boys of '86 and so on? Do you kind of look back in those days fondly?
Yeah, I've heard all the bits. So when I knew I was doing this, I texted my dad. Obviously, I know Frank is, but you hit the nail on the head. I don't know the ins and outs of the career and that. But I text my dad the other day. I said, Dad, what do you know about Frank McAvennie? He put back, fucking legend. we are good to swear on here, right? Because
yes, you can swear. Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Did we get our highest ever league position?
Yeah, we should have won the league, Jack. We went to the last game of the season.
Oh, did it really?
If we'd have won the Saturday, well, we won the Saturday. But if Liverpool had drawn with Chelsea,
right,
we could have won the league on the Monday night at Everton, and we were far better than Everton. We won our game. Me and Tony scored as usual, and we beat West Brom. And Kenny Dalglish scored with about 3 minutes to go at Stamford Bridge, so they won the league. So we got to Everton. I didn't want to play. None of the boys wanted to play, so we finished up third. But if they'd have drawn at Stamford Bridge, it meant Everton couldn't win the league on the Monday, so we'd have battered them. We would have won the league at Everton, which would have been.
I know. I'm just looking. You look kind of. You're looking at that, listening to Frank there, and imagining what the equivalent would be like now.
Oh, I know.
Going into the final weekend of the season, West Ham, Man City, and Liverpool. We
done well. It was great going to Old Trafford and all that, and we never get beat. It was great. It was wonderful. And you'll hear about John Lyle. You don't know him, but he was probably my idol up there. He was like my dad. Right. And it was great to the boys, but you didn't cross him. He was so mild. He's one of them. You just did not cross him, and you were in big trouble. Yeah, I was
going to say, what was it like playing under the lights at Upton Park? Because obviously that place is so special. It
was great. Well, John Lyle brought me down to play, in pardon pun, in the hole. So I was I done very well in London doing that. But
is that midfielder? Sorry for uninitiated terms. Is that somebody who's just sitting
the number 10? I think they call it number 10 now. So it's like sitting in behind the strikers, and it didn't work pre-season, to be honest. I don't think we won a game. And playing Birmingham the Saturday, Paul Goddard got injured up front. He played with Tony, and I went up front for the last 20 minutes. We get beat 1-0, but then the Tuesday night, under the lights at Upton Park, we played Queen's Park, and we battered them 3-1. So, and I scored a couple. So it was great, and that was me off and running. Yeah. It took TC about 4 or 5 games to get off the mark, and once he did, Tues were just flying that season. I don't think no one's ever going to do that. 50 odd goals between us. It was incredible. Yeah. So, and it's never been done since.
To give you an idea as well, Jack. as Frank's unofficial biographer, I kind of know all this stuff. So he finished second top scorer in English top flight that season behind Gary Lineker.
Oh, wow.
Gary Lineker took penalties. So
yeah, Annabelle Denny. I think he scored 13 penalties. It shouldn't be allowed.
he scored 13 that season.
Yeah, it shouldn't be allowed. So it was, but it was good. It was a great season. It was, you know, it was wonderful. I wish it never ended, but it was, you know, all good things come to an end, didn't it?
What were your early recollections then of going to Upton Park as a boy, and the kind of players that you'd have been idolising at the time?
So the first time I went, so I was born in '93. I think I was 13 when I first went. 2006, we played Bolton underneath the lights. I think it was a 5th round replay of the FA Cup, and Bolton were our bogey team at that point. And they may have even been Big Sam in charge. Was
it Big Sam there? Was that? I was going to ask that. Decent team.
Yeah, they used to always smash us. And so I remember I got my 13th birthday, opened my card, took a couple of tickets to Upton Park, fell out. I cried my eyes out because, like I said, I'm an emotional sometimes.
Brilliant.
And then, it was 1-1. We went to extra time, and I think Marlon Harewood scored the winner, but there was flares on the pitch. It was, it was incredible. And then
it was a special place.
It was, mate.
You know, it was. What do you? I mean, you've went there after that. What's your status with the London Stadium?
It's more home now. We had the European success under David. Like, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I think to make something your home, you need to sort of fill it with memories, and we have started to do that. But it's just never ever going to be the same, is it? It's just never going to be Upton Park. So I think they've made it a little bit better now. They've brought the seats a little bit closer and whatnot. But it's just, I don't know. I don't think it helped as well. The first season we had there was pretty shit because I think people just connect.
I think there's big gaps in the spaces with the seats and all that. It just wasn't. I know it was pretty soulless the first season.
But it's a good point you make. If West Ham had been flying that season, then everyone would have said, "Yeah, the new stadium's great," you know.
Yeah.
But folk look for something to post and blame to, I think, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And if you think to the last season at the Bowling under Bilic, we were flying, weren't we? We finished.
Yeah.
We had a good finish that season, good cup run. Well, that was the Payet season as well, so there's a bit of a cheat code. But it was phenomenal. That
I was going to ask too, Jack, about obviously you're a very, very recognisable face around West Ham and obviously online and so on. What sort of reactions do you get from the West Ham supporters? Do you get any grief from them, or is it usually fairly pleasant to you?
Yeah, I'd love to say it's all positive, but it's not been all positive. I mean, most of them are sound. If I go, a lot of them have a problem with me being from Norwich, which I can't really help. When I got the job with West Ham, just presenting for their YouTube channel and that, I got a lot of grief. Obviously, a lot of that comes from jealousy. They're doing a job that a lot of them would love to do, and I understand that. But I'm also quite a grounded person. Like, I know how lucky I am to have that job. Like, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm at West Ham. Like, these are still my idols. I don't go there and think because I'm filming with these players that I'm on the same level as them. Like, I still put them on the pedestal they kind of deserve to be on. And I think some fans, because I'm from Norwich, they think, who's this Chancellor? I don't go to as many games as those boys, the season ticket holders and stuff like that, because of work and because I live quite far away. So a lot of them just don't. They don't accept me as like a proper West Ham fan. You obviously get the trolls online who say, "Oh, he's only joined since the European run" and stuff like that. And I think one of the main, even though I posted a photo up on my Instagram the other day about of me as a baby. I was about 6 months old and I had a West Ham Forever Blowing Bubbles hat. Yeah. It's like you can't.
You can't beat that. I mean, that's
it can't beat that.
I mean, 6 months old. That's almost as young as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who you on? You're on McCartan, aren't you?
Yeah. He's a great lad.
Some boy, isn't he?
But the job it took you to, I mean, Australia pre-season tour and so on. That's living the dream, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it's literally like I could die tomorrow. I'd be a happy man. Like even if I never do another shoot with West Ham, like I've lived it, and that's what, like, if you'd have told me that as a 10-year-old boy, or even that 13-year-old boy on the terraces at Upton Park, like that. I grew up watching Mark Noble, like loving Mark Noble, like we all did, and then he's on my podcast and he sat this far away from me, and it's just it's just so surreal. I do understand some of the complaints of the West Ham fans in terms of, I'm not a season ticket holder, I don't go to every game, and then when we have this European success, which doesn't come around a lot for us, that was the season I started working with West Ham. So the media sending me over to Lyon, to Seville, to all these places. Yeah. And some of the fans, which I will argue all day long, they saw it as I was taking a ticket away from a real fan, but I'm not, because I'm providing a service. I'm working, exactly. Yeah. And then they had a problem, like I said, that I'm from Norwich. It's like, can you imagine if they knew that Declan Rice was a Chelsea fan? Like, it's just like, it's silly.
I know.
Yeah, can you imagine?
You've just told the Arsenal fans now. Good luck with that.
How would England fans react if they learned that Declan Rice was Irish?
I know.
That would probably cause a bit of a storm.
But they do know, don't they? But he's yeah. But it's funny.
But so you obviously you interact with the players quite a bit as well. So you must that's great. And I think you were telling Frank beforehand the story about Pablo Fornals as well.
Yeah, have you met him, Frank? Did you?
Yes.
Yeah, he's just a sweetheart, isn't he? Just
sweet. He's a nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, lovely guy. Now, I've got a quick story about. So we did a series on the West Ham YouTube channel called Snack Wars, where you had 3 or 4 players round the table, and I was presenting it, and it was sometimes it was like food from their home country. So we had the 2 Czech boys. It was the 3 Czech boys at that point, because you had Alex Kral as well, and you'd be giving them potato salad and all these sort of Czech cuisines, and they'd be rating them. And then a year or 2 ago, I can't remember that, when Skamaka first signed, we did a Christmas episode, but we're filming it in July. They need time to edit it and whatnot. So it's boiling hot, one of the hottest days of the year, and we're at Rush Green. Skamaka's only been at the club about a week, and then he comes in. We've got a Christmas dinner set up, like an English Christmas dinner, so he hasn't got a fucking clue what's going on. And this is just like, make sure he tries it, make sure, because we want that clip of him saying, "Oh, this is disgusting," or whatever. People share it around, whatever. So I say, Gianluca, can you try some of the turkey? And he looks at me, and he's miserable, this guy. But I get it. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So I go, try some of the turkey, and he just looks at me and he goes, "No." And I'm like, okay. So my ass starts flapping a little bit here, because I'm like, all right, he's been a bit of a prick. And then I'm like, try some of the cranberry sauce. He looks at me, no. So Pablo's here as well. I'm Ben Johnson, and they're looking at me, and they can tell I'm having a fucking nightmare here with this guy. And then I get some bread sauce or whatever it is. I go, "Please, Gianluca, for me, can you try some?" And he turns to me, looks me in the eyes, and he goes, "For me, do not ask again." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm like,
ignorant
this is a nightmare. And then I don't know what Pablo said, but Pablo could speak Italian as well. And he turned to him and he said something in Italian, pointed at me, and basically said something along the lines of, "Journalist, no journalist, West Ham, YouTube." Yeah. And I think he was explaining to him, he's not a journalist, he's not here to us or ask any hard questions. Because after that, he just changed and he just got involved. And the shoot was just perfect. And I thought Pablo didn't have to do that, but he's got
that's brilliant.
He's probably told him he was being an arse and he fucking better do it. I mean, that's what I'd have said to him. He'd been an absolute arse.
Or maybe, to be fair, maybe he was vegetarian. No, and he was, I don't eat turkey, mate.
You got a good point.
But listen,
you get a lot of that now. I mean, you get a lot of that. And I mean, I found in today's game, you get a lot of people that they don't want to. When I played, it was great. I know it's gone back a few years, but we always interacted with the fans.
Right.
We loved it, and they could come to the training ground, meet up with us, and have a chat with us and all that. And I loved it. I really did, and it was great. And that's why.
Did you have to do many?
You have to do it.
Did you do the media stuff, like because this is obviously all social media stuff, so it's before
before that
you was playing. But when you had to do sort of like appearances with like maybe sponsors and stuff like that, did you have much of that?
No, really. I had my own sponsor. My sponsors that had done it, they didn't really at the time. I had a couple of car sponsorships, so it was good for me. Scoring all the goals, it was very easy.
Tell you what, Jack, you need to do once we finish recording, jump onto YouTube and put in Frank McAvennie on the Terry Wogan show.
Okay.
Right. This is a time where there's maybe only 3 or 4 channels. 1986,
it was only the usual terrestrial channels, wasn't it?
So people didn't have an awful lot to do apart from watch EastEnders and watch Wogan. So you were on with Dennis Law?
I was on with Dennis Law, and it was a Friday night, Jack. 23 million people.
23 million people watched that.
That's what watching. So it changed my life overnight.
Yeah. Not as many as are watching just now because we've got JaackMate on.
Yeah, but it did change my life. I didn't realise.
In what way? What way?
This was the Friday night. John Lyle says you can go as long as you don't drink in the green room and all that kind of stuff. And I says, well, okay. And we played on the Saturday, and I think I scored. I can't remember. But that night, I was in my usual place, Stringfellas, and and I think I was dancing on a table, and the girl came in and she went, "The press are outside waiting you." I said, "They're waiting me for?" All of a sudden, you know, every news reporter knew what I looked like and knew where I was then. Because all the journalists, the sports journalists knew who I was. Yeah. But, you know, they call them the gutter press, didn't, you know, the ones
but there's an interesting aspect as well. So, again, long before your time, Jack, but round about that point, when Frank was doing his best at West Ham, there was a TV strike. So a lot of the matches weren't shown. So Match of the Day couldn't show games for the majority of that season. Really? So so there was a dispute.
You'll love this. They were arguing over 100,000 or something.
Aye. Frank was scoring goals left, right, and centre for West Ham. He wasn't on the telly. So the St and Greavesy TV programme on the Saturday took him out on the streets of London, and they're taking around, talking to taxi drivers and whatever, and they were saying, "Who's Frank McAvennie?" And these guys were saying, "Oh, that's the guy that's scoring all the goals for the Hammers." Mm-hmm. All right, okay, and then they'd say, "Who's this guy next to us?"
No, they're saying, "What does he look like?"
What does he look like? No
big guy with a beard and all that, and I'm going, "Nah."
Didn't know what he looked like.
Didn't know what it looked like. So that was.
But I think part of the reason you went on, Wogan, might have been connected to that.
No, I was just about to make my debut for Scotland. I was just about to make my debut, and Dennis Law came on, and obviously, what a laugh it was, Big Dennis. So it was good fun. But it changed. I went to the airport after that Saturday night. I had to leave Stringfellas because they were all outside waiting on me. Yeah. And one of the sheiks in, and Stringfellas said to Peter, take my chauffeur. So I've ran out with a girlfriend, I've jumped in the car. Now I lived in Essex. I think the guy thought I lived round the corner. So I've done his bar, I've emptied his bar on the way home. So that was pretty good. And I came back, but the following day I was going to meet my mum was going to Australia, and she had a 4-hour stop over at Heathrow, and I went to meet her, take her for a bit of lunch and that. And when I walked into the airport, I knew my life had changed, because there was people with cameras. It wasn't phones, but people were going on holiday, so they all had cameras, and they're saying, "Oh, I can get a photo," and all that, and that never happened before Wogan.
Yeah. So did you enjoy that, or was that just?
Oh yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I've never refused an autograph or a photograph. I never will, because I was a supporter before I was a player.
100%.
So I know what it's like, and it means a lot to people when they get a photograph and all that. So I would never do it, Jack. So I would just wish some of the players would do that now and think about what it means to the supporters.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, I saw. I can't remember who it was. I saw one recently that said when players complain about like getting stopped all the time, there's one thing worse than getting asked for your autograph, and that's when they stop asking you for your autograph.
Of course. I know. Yeah, and they'll complain about it at the time. So
there's a great line that a lot of stand-up comedians use when they play a wee club. They'll say something like, "You only play this venue twice in your career. Once on the way up, once on the way back down. It's good to be back." So we're going to stop briefly because we're going to do a new feature on Let Me Be Frank, right? You're not involved in this.
All right, this is new to me.
No, so it's called Franks for the Memories, right? And we ask the guest questions about Frank's life and times. Now, I know how old you are, Jack, so I'm not expecting you to know the answers to any of these. Right. But a lot of them are kind of 50-50, so you can have a go, right? So Frank's for the Memories, you know the answer to the. Well, I hope you know.
I don't know the question.
Right, well, question number 1, Jack. In his final game for West Ham against Nottingham Forest in May 1992, Frank came off the bench in the second half and scored how many goals?
He's prolific when he. I'm going to say 2. If you stitch me up and it's 0, I'm going to look a knob, but I'm going to say 2.
No. The answer's 3. He came off the bench in his final game, scored a hat-trick. I mean, that's Roy the Rover stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
So we beat them 3-0. It was a good result.
Right. So, question number 2. Before becoming a footballer, Frank worked briefly as what? A road sweeper or a trainee dental technician?
I'm going to go road sweeper.
Yes!
You got that one right, yeah. That's I did. I enjoyed it.
You did?
Enjoyed it.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Question number 3. How much did West Ham spend to bring Frank back from Celtic in 1989?
Give me some options.
I'll give you a clue. It was a reasonable amount of money back then in 1989. So
yeah, but I don't know how much reasonable was back then. 3-0.
Well, it was
No,
it was 1.25. He left West Ham to go to Celtic for 850,000 in 1987. Which was a lot of money for Celtic to spend.
Yeah.
Frank helped me with this question. Frank famously managed a team of glamour models against the British Army ladies team. What was the score?
Yeah,
by the way, can I say that?
What year was it? It's not going to help me in any.
I know. I was retired.
Aye.
So that was the only reason I could manage.
Basically, I'm just asking, pick a football scoreline.
It was my one and only venture into management. I thought I could do that.
Right, okay, tell you what, I'll give you a clue. The score was 3-1. Who won, the glamour models or the British Army ladies?
It's got to be the British Army ladies, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Well done. You're flying now, mate. You're absolutely flying.
That was my best. My failure as a manager.
The final question. To the nearest £10, how much did Johnston Borough Juniors give Frank as a signing on fee?
Know that.
Oh,
Aye, but we know he doesn't know. That's what quizzes are. But
I'm gonna go 60 quid.
No.
Well, no, it was actually £500.
£500, yeah, and it was cash. It was cash. Cash is good.
Yeah. £500 to sign on, and we'll just finish spending it. So back to the general chatter. What's your knowledge of Scotland? Do you come up here much? And I'm going to give you a supplementary question. Do you have a favourite team, Celtic or Rangers?
I'll answer your first question. I come up. We've taken our podcast on tour a couple of times, so we do it live, and we've done Edinburgh twice, Glasgow twice as well. So I've been up there just for sort of work and whatnot. I don't have a favourite Scottish team. I tell a lie, actually. I've got the Motherwell jersey from a couple of years ago.
There you go.
I know Tony Watt. And he played for them.
All right, I know Tony. He's a good boy, isn't he?
Great lad. Yeah, he's a great lad.
A great lad.
All right, what's your connection with Tony?
He used to watch my YouTube videos. So I got chatting to him through there. And then my friend's a big Rangers fan. Sorry about that. So so he told me all about when Tony's... he knows all about Scottish football, which I don't really know about. So he told me about when Tony scored against Barcelona. So we named our five-a-side team in Norwich Tony Watt FC, just all about Tony. So he sent us 5 jerseys out, and we just played all with Tony Watt. So I always say that, and he was at Motherwell at the time. I think he's back there now, actually. I think he's just gone back. But I say Motherwell's my team. But when it comes to Celtic or Rangers, I'm going to be on the fence for that one, boys.
Well, very diplomatic and very sensible of you as well.
I was at that game when he scored against Barcelona, Jack.
You were there, were you?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I was there with Joe Kozagi and Jim Kerr, Simple Minds. There was a few of us in the box, and it was there was a lot of liquid getting drowned that night, I can tell you.
Celtic touched the ball twice and scored with both of them.
Yeah.
So it was genuinely, Celtic had 11% possession that night or something. It was 11%. They beat them 2-1. There was you might remember a big guy went on to play for Southampton and Spurs. Victor Wanyama scored in the first half with a header. Tony Watt scored with about 7-8 minutes to go, maybe.
Wow.
And then some guy called I think it was Messi. Was it Messi? His name was. He got the consolation goal in the last couple of minutes.
It was funny. There's a great quote up here, Jack. It was when they went 2-0 up. Neil Lennon was it Lennon turned round and he looked at his coaching staff and he says, "We could get a draw out of this." So that was good. A couple of minutes to go. We could get a draw to this.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was very good.
So let's a bit more about yourself. How's life treating you? The Happier podcast is obviously fantastic. The numbers are brilliant. Can I ask you a question then on that? So many young people must look at, becoming a YouTuber, doing podcasts and all that stuff. When you started it all, did you have in your wildest dreams it would become what it's become?
Nah, not at all, mate. I started it when I was at school, so I think I started about 16 years ago now, and this was before everyone was doing it, because sort of every man and his dog YouTuber now. But I was the weird kid at the school, because everyone was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" I was just making videos about anything. Like, obviously, I look back on them now and I cringe, but I think everyone does with stuff that they did back in the day. But when I started, I don't think it was possible to make money through YouTube. I didn't know that wasn't the end goal. I just wanted to be seen. I just thought I was a bit of a class clown, wanted to be a bit of a joker. And then I started watching some other YouTuber for a couple of years as I was doing mine in the background. And they started talking about money that they'd been earning. So I was just like, oh, okay, how do I do this? Looked into it a little bit more. At the time, you had to be accepted to be a partner. It's not like now where everyone can make money, just put the content out there. You have to be accepted. And I remember the day I got accepted, I was absolutely buzzing. And then I got my first paycheck for it, and it was £60. My mum was like, "No, you're earning money. You can give me half of that." So I had to give her.
Go on, Mum.
That's outstanding. I mean, I remember a check coming through our letterbox from my boy, because he made a stupid YouTube video. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it got God knows how many views, million odd views, and I was checking through the letter, and I said, "What's this?" And when I discovered that what it was. Yeah. I'm thinking, right, I hope Frank McAvennie asked me to do a podcast with him at some point in the
future. So you just carried on from there then, yeah?
Yeah, so it's weird, because I was doing it, I was probably doing it for about 10 years. I had a different podcast at the time, and I basically just moved out with my partner at the time, and I was working out how many views I needed, because it weren't going great. I was just getting enough views to sort of pay the rent. I worked out, right, if I upload 2 videos a week, it will make X amount of money, it'll be enough to pay my rent. And I thought, if the views, because the views were going down a little bit, I was getting about 20,000, 30,000 views on each video. And I was trying to interview just anyone that I could that had a bit of a story. And then one day, I remember it like yesterday. I told this on another podcast, and it went a little bit viral. It's crazy, because it sounds like I'm making this up, but it's genuinely happened. It was November 2017, and my views had gone down, down, down. People weren't interested in what I was making. And I said to my partner one night, I said, I don't think this can be my job anymore. I'm going to have to start looking for a job. I used to work at Bella Italia back in the day. My cousin was the manager. I was like, I might just have to text my cousin again. But I'd made this video. I'd made this very specific video. There was a YouTuber back in the day. I don't know how much you boys know about this, but there was a YouTuber back in the day called Zoella. She was a beauty vlogger. She was very big. She made an calendar. So she was selling to her kids, to her kid audience. It was 50 quid, and there was only 12 doors in it, and there was like a pen in one, like a rubber in the other one. I thought, this is a fucking load of shit, this. Yeah, so I was like, so I reviewed it in the style of a beauty vlogger, like how she would review things. So I did that. But then I thought, I don't know what the legalities are around like shitting on this person's product. So I never uploaded it. And I was in the pub one night with my mates, and my mates couldn't give a shit about what I do. Right? I wouldn't even talk to them, because I'm just Jack to them. Like, they don't want to fucking know. Yeah. I had this video, and I was like, look, boys, I wouldn't normally show you this, but I think it's really funny. Like, can you tell me? Because they'll be brutally honest if it's not as well.
Yeah, of course it would.
And I showed them the video, and they were cracking up. And they were like, you need to post it. You need to post it. So I'd had a few jars, had a bit of false confidence, posted it. Bear in mind, I was just touching 20k views on each video. Next morning, I wake up, I'm going to play Sunday League football. I'm going through the drive-through at McDonald's on the way there. So
as you do.
Waiting for my food. I look on my phone, it's got 200,000 views. And I'd only posted it the night before. I'd forgot I'd unposted it. And fucking hell, this is mad. Played football, come home, 500,000. I'm getting calls from the press going, can you tell us about this calendar, blah, blah, blah. Next day in Boots, the calendar's slashed half price. So that's made a bit of a splash. And then and I went from 200,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers in about 3 days. my granddad, bless him, he's turning 80 in December. He's my biggest fan. He's my best friend. Where is he? I got him tattooed there.
Wonderful.
He came round my house where I just rented with my missus at the time, and on my computer desktop I put the live subscriber count. So every time a number went up, it went boom boom. We sat there with a cup of tea for about half an hour just watching the numbers go up and up and up. And I was, this is the moment where it changes, and it did, and it was literally the day before where I said to the missus, I can't do this anymore. So it changed like that. So
that's just fantastic. That's
incredible. It's brilliant.
You've had some amazing guests on as well in your podcast too. Is there anyone that sticks out? I was going to ask you if there was someone who was very different from what you expected they would be like. You maybe in a good way or a bad way.
Who's surprised? The majority of people, I think, surprised me. The majority of people are nice. Like they just are like. I get the odds. I think we've done about 300 guests. I think there's only been one or two I haven't really clicked with. The rest of them are fine. Someone who surprised me even more than I thought they could is Ricky Gervais. Like I'm a huge Ricky Gervais fan. I think he's incredible. He's my comedy hero growing up. And, have you got time for a quick story about him?
Of course. Yeah,
absolutely. Please, yeah.
So it's the best thing ever. So I had all his DVDs as a kid. Like I loved The Office. I'm sure we all do. Like and that. And then 2016, he comes back with Life on the Road. He did the new film with as David Brent. So I DM'd him on Twitter. He'd followed me for some reason, but we'd never spoken. So I DM'd him and no, tell a lie. I'd emailed his manager and said, can I get involved in the press junket? So when like all the journalists go in, they get 5 minutes with him, whatever. And then his manager put back, sorry, we're full, that it's not going to happen. So I was like, okay. So again, about a week later, I think I'd had a couple of jars. So I messaged him. So I messaged Ricky and was like, mate, I'd love to interview you one day. It's my dream. I tried to get on the press junket, but it's full. He's put back an hour later, who said it's full? So I'm like, well, okay. I don't want to drop anyone in it, but it was this.
You're about to chuck someone under the bus.
Yeah. So anyway, so he said, I'll check. And then he got back to me a day later. He went, it is full. He said, but if you come at the end of the day, so can you bring your own camera and stuff? I was like, of course. So if you come at the end of the day, we'll find time. So instead of just being part of this conveyor belt of 5 minutes, a journalist only gets 5 minutes, then the next one, then the next one. I got to go to a posh hotel in London, little side room. He's coming at the end of the day. I've met him. I'm a bit nervous, and then I was like, 5 minutes, is that right? So you can have as long as you want. And we filmed for about 40 minutes, and it was incredible.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and we got on like a house on fire. And then after that, he came on my podcast. He invited me on his radio show, and it just
that's fantastic.
I owe that man a lot because he come on doors, and once you get someone like Ricky Gervais on your podcast, other people are likely to come on then because they just look at, oh, he's been on, so it's got to be half decent.
Yeah.
Well, when you speak to him, tell him I'm a big fan.
Get him on here.
Get him on.
Listen, I'm already sitting thinking, what calendar can we review for Christmas? What with the St. Mirren calendar? The one that's got the kind of, you open the box, there's a wee mini Frank McAvennie inside or something.
No, you don't want that.
What's your working week like, Jack? At the moment, you appear to be living the dream for a young person who wants to do what you're doing. You obviously set your own diary. Do you have loads of time to yourself? Yeah,
I do, mate. I'm back and forth from London like 2-3 times a week, doing the pods, doing other bits and bobs. I work with 888 Poker, so I'm constantly going around playing with them guys. It's to be honest, the kind of the thing that I've built is it couldn't have been better because it doesn't matter about the numbers or the money or the house or anything like that. The thing I'm the most proud of is that when I started my podcast, I could have had another big YouTuber to do it with. Like you see, like the Sidemen, they're all big YouTubers. Mine, the people I do it with, my co-host, my editor, they're all my best mates. They're all my friends.
Yeah, brilliant.
So they're just normal lads, like who I click with. That I was like, get on this show and let's do this together. Like my fiance Fiona, I've been with 10 years. She edits for me. She used to work in Tesco. I used to say to her like, sack this off now. Like we can do this together. Yeah. And mum and dad obviously a bit old fashioned. They don't understand the world. They were a bit hesitant. Are you really going to leave your job to go and do this? But she's never looked back since. And then on my podcast, we've got Stevie White, one of my best mates. He used to work in Boots.
Brilliant.
Alfie Indra, who's just like my friend. Yeah, it's just that's the best thing about it, mate. That's the best thing. Getting with my friends, yeah.
And you mentioned poker and darts, and are these things that you kind of had an interest in before the podcast thing, or have you kind of learned it as you went?
Yeah. So yes and no. So darts I've been into for a good few years now. Absolutely love it.
And you've played darts games in front of a big number of people, big crowds. Is it easier to play darts in front of a busy pub than it is in your bedroom?
Yeah. Well, I played at the O2, mate, and I was shitting myself. I was absolutely shitting myself. It was the Premier League, and I played against another YouTuber called Pieface. We'd played at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool like a year before.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a Rocky montage in my head. I spent a year training, running up steps, trying to get better to beat him, and then I finally beat him at the O2. But I'm very lucky. I've done a lot of stuff on stages in my career, comedy and whatnot. I've never been so fucking nervous throwing a dart at the O2. Yeah. I don't know what it is. My leg was shaking and everything. It was like, I'd had about 8 pints before as well, and I was still fucking shit.
Jockey Wilson after 8 pints was absolutely on fire.
I know. There's a few old guys. Remember the guy who was the guy at snooker? He used to drink 14 pints before he played snooker.
Bill Werbenek.
That's the one.
Aye, and he got
14.
He got tax relief on it.
I know he did. He got tax relief. Can you believe that?
He had a medical condition that apparently 14 pints helped him hold his cue a bit steadier. So he got tax relief.
Yeah, I should have tried that at football, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I was going to say, would you ever have a beer before for playing or not?
No chance. No, I couldn't. I couldn't have. I was more a runner, and I couldn't have done it. If it was if I'd had a drink, it says my contract I couldn't go out 48 hours before a game. So I was always home within about 49. About 49 hours. That was me, and I went out after that. So I was always ready.
Love it.
But great.
I want to talk to you before we finish, because time's moving along, about your Boris Johnson protest day. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I went on again, looked at it fairly recently, and it was your kind of your own monologue at the start, but what it actually, what COVID meant to so many people. One of my closest friends, dad died in hospital at the very start of COVID. We had to watch his funeral online. His nearest dearest couldn't get in to see him in the ward, and then we all watched what these characters did at Christmas time, and then you were able to do something that so many people were behind, and so many people kind of gave you a lot of respect for it. You must have been buzzing. I
think it was a feeling of a nation, wasn't it? What you done just.
It was, mate. Yeah, it was. It was just holding up a mirror to them, wasn't it? And just letting them see what they are. But the issue is, I just don't think they give a shit. I just don't think they care. Like it's a crazy thing, because you have all these people online, all these nutters that are like speculating these conspiracies about COVID and stuff like that. Yeah. It's crazy. I'm only 31. I still consider myself to be a young person. I know some girl that was in my class at school that passed away from it. Like she was 27, and her mum works in the post office around the corner to mine. You can go in there any day of the week and see her picture on the wall with the dates that she was born and when she died. So it's like, this is real shit. So it was. I'm not the most political person in the world. I don't really know much about it, but I knew that was. I knew what they were up to, and I just wanted to just make a small.
As you said on that video, I mean, it doesn't matter what your political leanings are. You know what's right from wrong. I
just think they're all the same. They're all fucking dogs. Every single one of them. Billy Connolly was right when he says anyone that wants to be a politician, that should be enough to. People shouldn't let them. Aye,
he did. His other line was, "Don't vote. That'll just encourage them." Aye, so listen, prediction time. Who have the Hammers got this weekend?
We've got Liverpool. In the week in the cup.
Yeah.
Then, we got. Is it Brentford? It might be Brentford. Could be
Brentford. It's a London one, is it?
Yeah, possibly. Cool. I could have that wrong. Not sure. I'm just looking here, lads. It's we got Brentford away on Saturday, and then we've got Ipswich at home after. So that's going to be.
The Ipswich game. That's the 5th of October, isn't it? Yeah. I was going to come down to that, mate. Right. Come down.
So we'll get West Ham, big West Ham fan, West Ham legend. Both, I'll ask you both. Brentford away. What's the score going to be? You go first.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I think it's going to be dodgy. I think it's going to be hard. It's they won it at the weekend. Did they win it at the weekend? I think.
Well, what's the Spurs?
Did they lose?
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I did.
They lost it away to Brent, but they're a good team, and they battered us last year. They took 5. Was that them? It took 5 off us, but it was a Fulham.
Give us a score.
I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think we'll win. I think we'll get a draw there. We need a win.
Jack, do you reckon the Hammers are going to kick-start their season on Saturday or this weekend?
Yeah, I'm confident, mate. I reckon we'll do it, mate. I reckon we'll 2-0, 2-1, something like that. But I don't know why. I can see us having a hiccup against Ipswich. You know?
Do you think so? Well, that's me. I'm not come down to that one then. Yeah. I was desperate talking about Brentford. I was desperate for them to go for Ivan Toney. I really was.
That would have changed
because he would have stayed. He would have stayed in London if somebody come in from like that. It would have been ideal for West Ham because he's that kind of player. It would have been
What
brilliant.
about the lad from Villa as well, John Duran? He was. He
was
desperate to come to West Ham. He was giving it all out on.
I know. And he was 10 million cheaper, so he's not a bad player, isn't he? Doesn't get injured. We always buy ones that get injured.
Yeah.
A sick note. We used to call all the boys. It's a shame. Hopefully everyone gets fit and we can crack on and have a good season. I feel for the manager, but that is what it is. It's a result-driven business. If you don't get results, I think you could be out.
We'll rope you in January, right?
Well, listen, Jack, absolutely fantastic coming on, mate. Maybe get Frank on your podcast at some point in the future.
It'd be lovely to come down.
Lovely stuff. Listen, lovely stuff.
Really, really good of you to come on. Much appreciated. Thanks very much, and we'll hook up again at some point soon.
Really appreciate it, Jack. Thanks, pal.
Great chatting with you boys. Good luck with the pod.
Thanks a lot, mate. And we'll see you all again for the next episode of Let Me Be Frank.